Let's have a look at question 12, 2019. Students carried out an investigation into the effect of soil moisture on the percentage ground cover of moss in their school lawn. So they're looking at the lawn, they're seeing how much of it has got moss in it. A quadrat was used to estimate the percentage ground cover of moss, so that's just a square thing with the squares inside it, at several sites. That means they did it a few times. The soil moisture was also, soil moisture was also measured at each of the sites. The results of the investigation are shown in the table. So we'll get sample site 1 to 9, average soil moisture percentage, and ground cover of moss, again, percentage. Describe the relationship between average soil moisture and percentage ground cover of moss. So we're not looking for a relationship and say, oh, they really love each other, they get on really well, they're great fans. That's not the kind of relationship we're looking for here. We're looking for, as you increase one thing, what happens to the other thing? Does it increase? Does it decrease? Does it stay the same? So as one thing gets bigger, does the other thing get bigger or does it get smaller? That's what they mean by a relationship. And in this case, they're looking for, as the soil moisture increases, the percentage ground cover of moss also increases. So moisture goes up, percentage of ground cover of moss goes up as well. Next one, describe how the reliability of the results could be increased. So that's always going to be repeat the whole investigation, got to say you repeat the whole thing, or do more quadrats and soil moisture readings, or use more sample sites. What's not acceptable is repeat the experiment and take more measurements or samples. You've got to say repeat the whole thing. I know it sounds kind of harsh, but that's the way the SQA do it. So repeat the whole investigation, will get you the points. Do more measurements, won't. You've got to remember that one. Next bit, question 12. The students also used a soil thermometer to gather data on soil temperature at each of the sample sites. Describe what the students should have done each time they used the soil thermometer to ensure valid results. So they have to insert the thermometer at the same depth into the ground each time, or leave for a time to adjust to the temperature, because it takes a wee while for the thermometer to get to the temperature of the soil around it. So you don't just put it into soil and then read it immediately. You got to leave it a few seconds till it gets to the temperature and the mercury or the coloured line stops moving. Or if it's a digital one, the number stops changing. Soil moisture and temperature are examples of abiotic factors, that's non-living factors. Name one other abiotic factor that can affect plant growth. And there's a few they've got. We've got pH, light intensity, got to have intensity, wind speed, humidity, that's how damp it is, mineral concentration, that's chemicals that are in the soil, and nitrate concentration, which is also one that's in the soil. Now, they weren't accepting light. You would have to say light intensity. Because light on its own is not okay, because you could mean things like colour temperature, which I know you guys maybe don't think about, but you got to be aware of that. So you have to say light intensity. Light on its own is not okay. Next one. The students observe a species of lichen growing in some of the damper parts of the lawn. Lichens are indicator species. State what is meant by the term indicator species. That's just define indicator species. So we're looking for a species that by their presence or absence indicate levels of pollution or environmental quality. Don't forget the absence. A lot of people forget that one. Just say a species by presence tells you things. No. Presence or absence. That'll get the indicator species one. And finally in question 12, identify the sample site that would be the least likely to contain this lichen, and that's going to be sample site 4. Because they're looking for the less damp places, right? So 4 is going to have the lowest moisture, right? 4 is 11%, the ones above that are 18, 14, 15, and the ones after are 13, 12, 22, 30, 35. So because 4's got the lowest percentage moisture, that's the place you're least likely to get that lichen. And that was question 12 in the 2019 paper.